Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound. That's it in. 1 point more to go.
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field. Back toward the wall. Gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
We've got a lot of Diamond sports to cover today. Some honors around Pac-12 softball, Oregon baseball meeting with the media, an update on Jay Stoffel for the weekend, Mark Wazakowski coming up in just a little while. A new book released all about the growth of Oregon football, written by Garen Strong. More on that. And we will do our deep dive investigation into how old the Duck is. That's all coming up on today's show. And Mike Jorgensen, Oregon football analyst, is with us. His review of the spring game and a whole lot more. Pac-12 softball honors coming out today. Infielder Ali Bunker and catcher Tara McGowan, both named to the All-Pac-12 first team and the All-Pac-12 defensive team released today. Additionally, pitcher Morgan Scott was named to the second team, outfielder Hannah Delgado was named to the third team, and shortstop Paige Sinicki was an all-defensive team selection. Bunker becomes just the second position player in program history to be a four-time All-Pac-12 selection. She joins infielder Kathy Stahl, who was honored by the Pac-10 four times between 93 to 96. Bunker was a third-team selection in 19, a first-team selection in 21, and a second-team selection in 22. Additionally, the Huntington Beach, California native becomes the first player in program history to be a three-time All-Pac-12 defensive team honoree. Congratulations to Ali Bunker. Tara McGowan was named to the first team for the second year in a row after being a second-team selection in 21. And Morgan Scott, that transfer from UNC Greensboro, who was a two-time Southern Conference Pitcher of the Year, earned her first Pac-12 award, while Delgado earned her third straight third-team honor. Paige Sinicki was also named to the all-defensive team as a freshman. And how about this? The most all-defensive team selections in the Pac-12. Ducks had three: Ali Bunker, Tara McGowan, and Paige Sinicki. Now, number 17 Oregon, finishing the season at 35-14 and 14-10, opens Pac-12 tournament play on Thursday against number 7 Stanford. 6:30 in Tucson. It'll be televised on Pac-12 Network, and Ryan Milano is out there traveling today for KWVA, a 6:30 first pitch. If you want the hometown call, you got the student radio station KWVA for you. Now, Garen Strong wrote this book, Innovation University. It is all about the rise of Oregon football, told through players that lived it, brilliant minds that are behind the O logo, created by former player and current Nike Inc. employee Garen Strong. It's detailed. It's really cool, and you can find out more, innovationubook.com. The website is really something even to just look through some of the design that comes with the growth of Oregon football. Really cool, bit of a history lesson and an awesome gift, a coffee table book for sure. Duck baseball coming up. Washington is in town. We've got a schedule announcement to tell you about. Oregon will open the 2024 season in a tournament at the home of the Texas Rangers. The 2024 tournament will mark the fourth year of the College Baseball Showdown at Globe Life Field. The three-day tournament features 6 of the top college baseball programs in the country: Baylor, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas Tech, and Oregon. Mark Wazakowski talking about that tournament coming up in just a little bit. Washington's in town. The Pac-12 standings are tight. Washington's right behind the Ducks in the Pac-12 standings. This is a big weekend. Also, we're going to talk with Mike Jorgensen about a very hard-hitting topic. How old is the Duck? So I went and did a little bit of digging for you. In 1947, that was when Leo Harris, the exact year, I knew it was in the 40s, and I honestly didn't remember the exact year. 1947 was when Leo Harris and Walt Disney made that handshake agreement, and it wasn't until 1966 that no one realized that there was a formal contract for Oregon to use the likeness of one Donald Duck. Well, there was a famous picture that Leo Harris was able to unearth of Walt Disney wearing a Oregon Letterman's jacket, or Letterman's jacket, I should say. Leather. It was probably a leather jacket if it was a Letterman's jacket, right? Yeah, that's a okay Freudian slip. But 1947, Leo Harris, Walt Disney make that agreement, and now that's sort of what the duck has looked like. There's the picture. Good job, Scott Phillips. Well done. Yeah, look at that. Walt Disney wearing that Oregon jacket. That is an awesome jacket, by the way. So that's the duck logo that is very similar to Donald. Now, in the 40s, it also, the duck logo as it exists now, well, the duck as he exists now, it exists now, that likeness was first used in the yearbook with permission from the Walt Disney Company. And then in 1947, that handshake agreement takes place. So for me, the birth year of this iteration of the Oregon Duck is 1947. There was Puddles, the live duck. There were other mascot costumes. In fact, the one that I referenced that's here in the Casanova Center, that's actually the oldest known duck costume, and it looks truly nothing like the duck does now. So I'm going with 1947. If anybody is listening to this show, any historians, I'm looking at you, anybody on the Hall of Fame committee. I walked by Herb Yamanaka's office today, and I missed him, so I haven't gotten an update for you from Herb, because Herb, by that count, then, is older than the duck. He's the only one in the athletic department, I'm pretty positive, that is older than the duck. But here's looking at you, the Bill Thompsons of the world. Any other Oregon historians? I'd like some clarification here on if I'm right. But I'm going with 1947, which means at the Ducks' birthday party on Friday, 6 o'clock before the Duck baseball game, it's at PK Park, free admission for kids 12 and under. Discounted tickets for parents are available at the box office. RSVP, goducks.com/Ducks B-Day. The Ducks' birthday party, 6 o'clock at PK Park before the 7 o'clock first pitch. If 1947 is true, that means we need 76 candles. 76 candles on the Ducks' birthday cake. Or maybe just a 7 and a 6. That's probably right. When you get to that point where you can't fit enough candles on the cake, you've made it. Yeah, you've made it. So baseball in town this weekend. Mark Wasikowski actually met with the media for an extended period of time today, so we're going to take a time out a little earlier than normal on today's show because we have a lot to get to with Mike Jorgensen and Waz coming up. Updates on Jay Stoffel as the Ducks look for a bounce back this week. Stick with us. It's Duck Insider. Alex Stimson's here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, OnPoint proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. OnPoint Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
To your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles. They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide through this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Mark Wazakowski. A lot of updates today. A lot of questions from the media about Jay Stoffel, what's going to happen this weekend. It's brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. Today.
To start, Jace doesn't make his start on Friday. Is that an injury concern? Do you expect him to pitch in this Washington series coming up?
Well, we didn't announce Jace as a starter last week. We announced Leo Ullman as a starter last week, and so he didn't get scratched as a starter. He got backed up. We took him on the trip, hoping that he'd be ready to pitch by Sunday. He actually threw in the bullpen on Sunday and thought that he may be able to go, but we thought that it wouldn't be responsible to pitch him last weekend. And so we brought him to be able to help bring him back, right, to try to get him back into the mix as soon as we can get him back in the mix. He's so valuable, and so it's a day-to-day thing with him, and as soon as we can get him back out there, we're going to get him back out there.
Did he throw a bullpen this week?
Yeah, he threw a bullpen yesterday.
Feel good? Come out okay?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, it came out good, but I don't think he's not 100% yet. His arm's fine. It's just it's a different kind of a deal I don't want to get into, but it's when he's ready to go, he's going to be out there, and when he's not ready to go and it's not responsible for him to be out there, we're not going to pitch him. So as soon as we can get him back out there, we want him back out there for sure. He's obviously really good.
What made you go with Leo Ullman then for that Friday game?
We had a situation last week with Pace and Spoljaric with higher pitch counts from the midweek games. And so we felt like Leo would have been our best chance to, give us, we weren't looking for a 5-7 inning start. We were just looking to get us out of the blocks and be able to kind of pass the baton and have a bullpen day on the first day of that series. Felt like Logan throwing on game 2 could possibly save bullpen pieces to where we could utilize our bullpen, rest our bullpen, and utilize our bullpen. And that's what went into that decision. It didn't work out for us.
What do you take from Logan's start? They had the best start over the weekend. It's a good hitting team at USC. Just what do you take from that?
Yeah, we thought that USC's team did the best job so far of the year on just making adjustments. What did I take away from his start? I think he's a competitor. I think he's a really good pitcher. We're blessed to have him. Obviously you're looking for the quality of start. The more quality starts, the better off you are. The other guys that we've been starting outside of when Jace starts have basically been freshmen. And that's been, like you would expect freshmen to go. Some weeks it looks fantastic, other weeks it doesn't. So we're just looking to hopefully get the consistency better and better as we move forward.
And what'd you take from grabbing on Sunday? And kind of the first time he's been hit around like that, and it pretty much all came with 2 outs.
Yeah, it did all come with 2 outs, and so there were a lot of takeaways from that. We got a chance to be able to break him down on tape with Matthew. He got a chance to see his outing. He got a chance to see a lot of the things that were good or bad about that outing, and that's only going to help him for sure this coming weekend.
A week ago, you said you wanted to see your team play with a reckless nature in there against USC compared to coming off that Oregon State loss. Did you see it from your team?
Not at the level that we're looking for. No, not quite. In spurts, yes, but not as a whole quite yet. No.
How do you try to get your guys to get there, and not just in spurts, but to go all 3 games?
Well, that's a complicated question, and it obviously goes back to the drawing board at practices, and it really is the investment in the relationships piece and what we're about, and really getting back to the drawing board at practice to where we can button up some loose ends. Offensively, you just take it and you go offense, defense, and pitching, and you try to separate those things and try to assess your strengths and weaknesses in those areas, and then, just build off the strengths and try to improve the weaknesses.
Offensively, one of those strengths was Sabine Ceballos. He comes back in the lineup for you guys. DHs, they can get 6 or 7 hits this weekend.
Yep.
Just how much does that help your lineup, and how much did you miss him?
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, you'd love his, Drew Smith did a great job at third base, but you're talking about an intangible piece when you got a guy like Sabine that's not actually on the field for you, a maturity piece. And when you've got young pitchers out there pitching, you're looking for as many maturity pieces as you can to be able to help them through their outings. And so, not being able to have Sabine on the playing field, even though you get him back as a DH, which is huge, it's still, you're still losing a leadership piece out there from Sabine. And so the quicker we can get him back on the field, I think the younger pitchers specifically, and all the pitchers really, would benefit from his presence.
Do you expect him to play this weekend? And if so, is it going to be more in that DH role?
Well, I mean, at least in the DH. And again, as soon as we can get him back out there, and we want him back out there for sure.
Another injury question. You've talked a lot this year about Isaac Ayon going to be pitching at some point this season. You got 6 more games left. Is there anticipation that he comes back in one of those 6 games?
There is. And, he's got I believe it's another bullpen either today or tomorrow. Every test that he's had, he's passed with flying colors, which has been great. This weekend is kind of a TBA. There's a chance that he could be active for this weekend. Definitely as the schedule holds for the following weekend versus Utah. And, the usage there, obviously, when a guy's just coming back into the mix, it would probably be a pretty limited deal until he can get built up. But the good news is that it looks like worst case scenario is 2 weeks out versus Utah right now. Knock on wood that's the case, or maybe even if we get some better news than that this coming weekend. But it's a little too early to tell quite yet.
That potential better news, would that come after this bullpen that he's going to throw this week, or is that just going to be...
These things are all day to day. When you're dealing with some of the, I don't know if it's nicks and cuts, but when you're not dealing with a major deal, or you're dealing with a rehab type situation where Isaac's been in, there's a schedule that Isaac's been following, and on that schedule, you don't want to inject a guy in there and be irresponsible. You want to make sure that you stick with the plan. And we have stuck with that plan. He's done a great job with it. He's passionate. He wants back out there more than anybody, and that's great. And so, any of the guys that are injury pieces, and there's a lot of them, but still yet, you just kind of look at it and you go day to day. And as soon as you get the information from the medical side that says, yeah, this guy can go and this is what he can do, then they're in. It's not a question about, do you want to use a guy like Ceballos or Stoffel or Ayon or anything like that. It's absolutely we do, and whenever you guys allow us to do it, we're going to utilize those guys in a responsible manner.
With Ayon, obviously it's big what he brings from a performance standpoint, but just getting him out there as a leader and kind of a veteran, just how much of a boost is that at this point?
Huge boost, and even when he's around the ball club and he's doing his defensive work and stuff like that yesterday. I mean, just a massive presence. I mean, he's a great looking kid to start with. Great leader, tough kid, and to have him and his energy out there, I mean, you can feel the other guys feeding off of it. And so the sooner, obviously, we can get him back into the mix, the better for the morale of the club and the performance, that he's going to be able to provide us. It'd be a really a great shot in the arm at the right time.
Earlier today, you guys were announced that you participate in the 2024 the Shriners Children College Baseball Showcase with Oklahoma Tech and other programs, Baylor, I think. Just what does that mean for you guys going forward, getting that, kind of a prestigious award to start the season out there in Globe Life Park and, add to your non-con?
Well, we've always been a strong RPI scheduling team, and we take a lot of time into scheduling. And so, all the way down to the Xaviers of the world who are doing very, very well, Santa Barbara's of the world, any of the teams that we schedule. A year ago, Ball State, when they were a non-conference game in the middle of the year, we're trying to stack our schedule with the best available non-conference RPIs that we can possibly have. And so to get invited to a tournament like that, great question. What you're referring to, that means that those guys are looking at us as a program clearly on the rise and clearly with players that are going to be wanted to be seen by big crowds in that environment at the Texas Rangers ballpark. And so for us to get the honor to be invited to that, it's great. It means the program is definitely going forward. And for us to be able to start our season out there and play against great clubs and all that kind of stuff, it's only going to help us down the stretch for years to come, but specifically next year.
This weekend, Washington another rivalry series. Just overall, they've been a high octane offense team.
Yeah.
But from your perspective, what have you seen?
Yeah, high offense, octane offense. I just have been impressed with their pitching. I think there's at least 3 guys as starters and 3 guys as bullpen guys in that mix that have thrown the ball really, really well. They've been consistent. They're playing as well as anybody in the league right now. The guys that they're going to start, 2 of them are going to get big time scouting interest on Friday and Saturday night at least. It's a great test for us. They're a program on the rise, and they've done a nice job. And they've been a very offensive group here recently. They kind of do it in their own way, which is they're not afraid to get their swings in for sure. I think they've won either 7 out of their last 8 or 8 out of the last 9. They've done a really nice job, and so we're going to need to be up to the test.
Have you coached against a guy with a cooler name than Lord Kiefer, their Friday night guy?
Well, Lord Kiefer's got a great arm. Anytime you're running the ball from 94 to 98 miles an hour with a good breaking ball, that's pretty good.
It is Wednesday. Have you figured out who your Sunday starter is going to be this week?
Going into a meeting about that. We haven't even discussed all the starters. So, yeah, we're going into a meeting right now. I would imagine you're going to see, Logan Mercado, and you're probably going to see, I'm not sure about the other 2 spots yet. I'll check with Coach Andrew and see what he wants to do. Some of that's going to be pending on Jace, though, and we'll get more information on him as the week goes. And so far, it's been trending in the right direction, and there's been improvement, which is great.
Drew Cali was able to continue his offensive production over the weekend. I know you talked about him after he's won national recognitions earlier this season, but what kind of mental fortitude does it take when he's out there, especially over this weekend, when your team's doing well, when your team's struggling, he's out there continuing to deliver at the plate?
Well, the kid's a stud, and one of the messages we had for our team yesterday was, a week ago, we've got the national pitcher of the week, or the conference pitcher and the conference hitter of the week, and everybody, all the writers are loving you, and you're getting ranked higher, and this, that, and the other, and then this week they hate you because you didn't play great. So neither week is probably real. It's probably somewhere in the middle, and Drew's been a guy that's been able to stay in the middle no matter if you're going good or you're not going as good as you want to go. So just that consistency, the consistency with him, the consistency with Tanner Smith breaking the last record that he just broke in terms of being, I think it was consecutive starts or something like that, which is a tremendous record to be able to break. The consistency piece is really the answer in college baseball, because it's a long season and you're not going to play great for every single week. And just having the perspective to know that you're going to have your ups and downs, and that you're going to need to bounce back after you have a down, or you're going to need to be able to sustain it when you have a good, exciting week. Drew Cali and some of these guys have been able to manage that very, very well, and that's the huge piece of that one. So to take the older guys with Cali and Grant and Smith and these kind of guys, to be able to help those younger guys understand that this thing isn't about one weekend, it's about consistency and improving every day. That leadership is really the value in those guys.
This is senior weekend. It's going to be a very special class here at Oregon for your senior day. Just what have these guys, Tanner Smith, Drew Cali, Malaris, even he's just been here for this year. Just what are some of the things that this class means to you and means to the program overall? Yeah,
and there's other guys too that are graduating early. You got Betcher, who's graduated after a couple of years. He's probably, I think he's choosing not to be honored because of other reasons and stuff like that. But still, him and all these kids, look at what they've done so far, and that's what I've said to them. And outside of that shortened COVID season, each and every year that we've been here, we came in here at the same time Gavin Grant came in here, and so guys like that, I mean, each season they've played here, they've been in postseason play. They're going to be able to walk out to that ballpark, whether they're married or not down the road, and look at those banners and look at the years of the teams that they played on, and know that the teams that they played on, they were in postseason play each and every year. And we're not there yet this year. We still got some work to do, and the guys know that. But the one thing that I know that's going to motivate them is every day when they walk out there and they see the years of being in postseason play out there and them being on those teams, they know that that's a big deal this year. And to be able to continue that string, continue that thing going, they're the ones who are building this, and we're taking steps forward. I'd love to be able to take huge running steps at times forward, and at times we've been able to do that, and we take a step backwards. But that's naturally college baseball right now. And I'm just happy that there's progress being made. And this senior class has been a huge, huge reason why there's progress being made. Yeah.
Riga Nishida this weekend broke the single season stolen base record and hit the home run that broke the team home run record. Just how nice is it to have such a spark plug at the top of the lineup, especially someone who's even hit with a little bit of power. 5 homers this year.
Again, Greg, the guys on this team are awesome. Like when you're coaching guys like this and you're not dealing with issues away from the field, and they just are great to be around every day. It doesn't happen like that every year in your coaching career. You don't have locker rooms that are this fun to be around the guys every single day. Even when you have a bad week, to get together with them the next day is something that, like, every week I know every coach is look forward to doing because they're genuine, and even getting in there with them today here in just a little bit in the weight room, these guys are killing it. These guys want it so bad, and at times maybe too bad, and so sometimes them getting in their own ways is just the reason that the reason why is because they want it so bad, and that's probably the place that the coaching staff can help them maybe the most, is just to help them have a path forward to the success they're working for. So, great class, love these guys. They're a lot of fun to be around, and we're just looking to finish strong.
Senior Day on Sunday, going to be bittersweet at PK Park. Also on Mother's Day, Oregon with a critical series against Washington. Want to get one of those top 3 seeds. If you're a top 3 seed, you have an advantage in the Pac-12 tournament coming up in a couple weeks. More on that to come. When we return, talking a little bit of spring football and a deep dive investigation with Mike Jorgensen. I'm going to check my work for this investigative report. How old is the duck? Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can go out and make memories that make summer, summer. Like catching a road game in a RAV4. I got it.
Toyota, let's go places. Participating dealers only. Event ends May 31st. Dealer inventory may vary.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can go out and make memories that make summer, summer. Like catching a road game in a RAV4. I got it.
Toyota, let's go places. Participating dealers only. Event ends May 31st. Dealer inventory may vary.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is an important message from the Mine Safety and Health Administration. Mining fatalities, accidents, and injuries are preventable. Taking a minute to approach your task safely can protect you and your fellow miners from injury and death. Staying alert and focused can keep you safe. Do it safe. Do it right. Whether buckling a seatbelt or securing equipment, these quick safety measures can prevent injuries and fatalities. Take time. Save lives. For more resources, visit MSHA.gov.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Mike Jorgensen, he actually has a day job. So we sat down with him earlier today and recorded a segment reviewing the spring football season, looking ahead to the fall. We went position by position, but also I had to check my work with who I call Oregon Athletics historian, Mike Jorgensen, with us. We're going to begin with a really hard-hitting question for you.
Oh, you didn't even give me any warning on this?
No.
Like, hey, I'm going to ask you a tough question, so be ready?
No.
You just pop it on me.
No,
like
so
that.
this is Wednesday morning. We're recording with Jorgie. Yesterday, we had a really hard-hitting discussion because the Duck's birthday is on Friday, his birthday party. How old is the Duck?
Ooh, that is a tough question. So, the Duck.
The Duck. Not Puddles.
Okay, I was going to ask that. We're
Yeah.
talking about Puddles going back that far or just the Duck?
Just the Duck.
Okay, let me
let's see. Now that we're 2023,
60.
60.
Interesting. That's a good guess. Why 60?
I don't know. I just thought I'd go back to the 60s.
Okay, so here's what my research has told me. According to Wikipedia, it says the duck was first seen in 1940. I think when, there must have been a duck mascot of some kind. Now, on GoDucks.com, there's an entire article within the Cheer program's webpage about the duck, which goes into the history. Now, this is what I knew. It goes into the history of the Webfoots and how the former Oregonian sports editor sort of popularized calling the athletic teams the Webfoots. Well, then we go a step further, and of course there's a famous handshake agreement with one Walt Disney, and the only evidence of said agreement we find out 20 years later is that Walt Disney was wearing an Oregon Letterman's jacket at one point in a picture with Leo Harris. And of course now Leo Harris Parkway, we're all very familiar with Oregon's athletic director Leo Harris. So prior to that, there was Puddles. Now Puddles was a resident of the Millrace area who I understand was kindly escorted to various athletic facilities, and for obvious reasons, that ceased. But in 1947, that's when Leo Harris struck that handshake agreement with Walt Disney. So I tend to think that the duck, which does have a likeness to Donald, I tend to think that is the birth year of the duck as we know him today.
The late 40s, you're thinking.
1947, which would make him 76 this year. What do you think? Is that good?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I have all I can do is just some of the things that you brought up right there. I can sit there and think about the pictures with Walt Disney, black and white.
Right.
And that's why I went to the 60s. I know there were plenty of black and white photos way before the 60s.
Yeah.
But still, even in the 60s, everything was, watching the two channels of news that you would have at night was black and white, right? I mean, it was just one of those ones. So that's why I went to that era right there, because it seemed like before the early 1960s, in my mind, it was a different duck. It was obviously not a very creative one.
Right.
Now it is.
So
type of situation.
Well, in 1966, that was when Walt Disney passed. And that was when there was that big, well, wait, nothing exists in terms of a formal contract. How do we figure this out? That's when that famous picture came about. So anyway, my hard-hitting research from yesterday's show, I wanted to check it.
I could buy that.
I wanted to check it with someone who I would consider a Oregon athletics historian, yourself. And I think
kind of. Yeah.
You are.
I can go back 40.
You're on the Hall of Fame committee.
I can go back 40-some years.
Yeah. So I need to ask Herb Yamanaka this, though, because yesterday on the show, Eric Rodell said, well, then that means Herb's older than the duck, which is true. I think it's true.
So if anybody knows, it should be Herb, right?
Yeah. So Herb wasn't in his office when I walked by this morning. So I'm trying to figure this out for everybody. This is the hard-hitting
You're
expert.
kind of an investigative type of guy. I mean, you could be on those nighttime shows that we're watching all the time about, the murders and all the different things that take place.
But yet I talk about sports.
And you talk about sports, right? Yeah, investigative.
Yeah, thank you. I take that
I like
as a compliment.
That. Yeah, those are good shows.
Yeah, so 1947 was when Leo Harris made that handshake agreement. So I'm going with 1947 was the birth year of the
I could
duck.
buy that.
Now, I also said this on the show yesterday, and I'd be curious for your reaction before we actually talk spring football with Mike Jorgensen. There is an old mascot costume that's on display on the second floor.
That's what I think of as 40s and 50s, and that wouldn't be what I would consider the duck. I don't know why.
So I think that was my question is that duck maybe was around before this handshake agreement, but there's no doubt that the duck as he currently looks is a descendant of Donald, if you will. They're very similar looking, and so that's why I'm going 1947. But what's your reaction when you walk by that mascot costume on the second floor?
It's a little creepy sometimes. Yeah.
Good.
It's a little creepy.
My jaw drops is how I described it, and Eric Rodell said it much nicer than I did, and he just kind of smiled and said, mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way.
Me neither, but it does.
I just don't look anymore.
Yeah.
I don't. I will look away when I go by.
Here's how I describe it. I'm going to know a lot about my son when he knows who and what the duck is. And if he ever was to see that one, would it be like the Mirror Universe duck? Like just kind of scary,
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
That's going to be my test. But in any case, so there you go.
I like where we've where we have progressed.
Me too. Yeah.
To 2023.
I like that too. So happy birthday to the Duck. The birthday party is on Friday before Oregon baseball at 6 o'clock. But I wanted to check my work with you.
Yeah.
If that's cool.
That's good work.
So you'll buy 1947 because prior to that, he probably didn't look like he does now.
Yeah. I could see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, what'd you think of the spring game?
Hey, I'll tell you, it was a sunny day much like it is today, right? I mean, sunny day. It couldn't have been a better day from the standpoint of getting fans out and having a chance to be able to watch the Ducks play. I liked what I saw. It's tough. Those spring games are always tough because if the offense scores 50 points, then there's something wrong with the defense. And yet, if the defense holds the offense and neither team scores but 10 points or ends up a 13-10 type of deal, then you have a struggling offenses. And so it's in the coaches and the players' minds, Joe, it's another practice. It's one of 15. But it's bigger than that because you're out there in front of 40,000 plus fans that makes Oregon in Autzen Stadium special, and I think the guys raised the level of play.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I like the fact that Coach Lanning has sort of embraced that too. Like, this is bigger than just one practice, but still an evaluation period. And of course, Jorgie, everybody wants to know about the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
What'd you think of Bo Nix? What'd you think of Ty Thompson in particular?
Well, I thought both of them from the standpoint of both of them were below 50% completion percentage, so that's unusual for what they have done over time, in particular with Bo Nix. When you mix and match teams from an offensive line standpoint, receivers, tight ends, defensively the same thing, you can see that sometimes. I thought the defense actually did a really nice job putting the pressure on those two guys to make it uncomfortable for them, where they threw some balls that they'd love to have back. But it also was nice to be able to see, I thought the second half in particular with Ty Thompson, slow start for him, but at the same time, he stayed with it. He battled through it, had a great drive at the end of the half that didn't result in any points, and then 3 drives in the second half, 2 to start the second half, touchdowns. Tez Johnson took one of the short passes, and we'll talk about him in a little bit, and went for a touchdown, but a ball that was on the money to Hudson, and then even down by 9, took the team down and scored on the last play of the game. So, he battled through it. I thought made some really good plays, and that's the type of thing that you want to take going out of spring practice into the off season as you head to the fall.
You know what I really loved about the way the spring game was formatted? It wasn't ones versus twos, for example. So Casey Rogers and I were talking about this. He said when he was at Nebraska that it was like ones and twos versus everybody else. And so the ones and twos were just pummeling.
Right. Big
guys,
plays and all kinds of things to get the crowd excited, but
you want to see an evaluation that I think's equal competition. I like the fact the Ducks did that, and you mentioned Tez Johnson. Like, that's a guy who may end up playing with the ones, and Ty Thompson had him to throw to. I like that you could see, I think, a little bit higher level of competition. We talk about iron sharpens iron. I think we saw that in the spring game.
Yeah, we did. I mean, I somewhat felt bad for I think it was Bo Nix having to go against Dorless, Birch, and Rogers as defensive linemen, let alone a bunch of other guys too. And that's what made it, I think, uncomfortable for him back there, is you maybe had 2 starting, what would be considered starting offensive linemen on your side, and the yellow team had the other 2 or 3 or whatever it was trying to take on those guys. And, I think that's a deep, very solid group this year. But, again, what I like, going back to your original question, what I like about, I know what Bo Nix is going to bring to the table. I think he has proven that, continues to prove it as a leader and being consistent about what he does, and just all the tools that he brings to the table. But Ty Thompson, I think, to be able to battle through a slow start in that game, got better and better. Guys made good catches. Guys made big plays. And sometimes as a quarterback, it's not about completing the 40-yarder that a guy makes a spectacular catch on, or breaks into the open, and you just lay it out there and he's wide open. Sometimes it's the short ones and having receivers do you favors by breaking some tackles and making big plays out of small plays.
So I said that about the pass to Tez Johnson. Like, it's not just that he made all those moves and great downfield blocking from Patrick Herbert, for example. It was also that Ty Thompson knew to put it there and to let him go to work. That's a quarterback's job.
Yeah, right decision to the right guy, and let those athletes like him, like Irving, like Whittington, like Franklin, make the plays from there on. Just get it into big playmakers' hands, and that's exactly what he did there with Tez Johnson. Thought a really good decision, bang, right on the money, let the guy do the rest, and he's exciting.
More on the wide receiver room with Mike Jorgensen coming up. Quick timeout as we review football. Get ready for a big diamond weekend as well. Alex Simpson's here still. All right. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, OnPoint proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. OnPoint Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Farming is dangerous. There's dangers all around us.
We go through safety training and try and do these things to make sure accidents don't happen.
You don't want to hit a gas pipe because that's your life. The other part of it is if you hit certain things, you're liable for it.
Farm Safe 811 starts with you. Always call 811 and wait for any underground lines to be marked.
Always keep safety in the back of your mind. Just stay humble.
For more information, go to farmsafe811.org.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the drug facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the drug facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/drug facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you. Duck Insider always brought to you by our friends at Hoodoo. It's been a good year where I can sit here and talk about our friends at Hoodoo and that it's still ski season. Like now, it's still ski season. Good year for that. But the weather looks great this weekend for Oregon baseball. I mean, great. We're talking 80s, 90s. Going to be beautiful at PK Park. Meanwhile, it was a beautiful day, as Jorgie alluded to, for the spring game. And we continue our conversation with Mike Jorgensen, reviewing the spring game, looking ahead to the fall a little bit, breaking down the Ducks position by position with Jorgie. You and I have talked about this off the air. He is really exciting. Yeah. Tez Johnson, the rest of the wide receiver room, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I love the wide receiver room as a whole. I mean, you just right now, when you got a guy like Troy Franklin, when you've got that alpha to me, and that's what every team needs to they need a lot of skilled players, but anytime you have an alpha come to the line of scrimmage where the defensive backfield and the defense is going, okay, there's 11.
Right.
There's 11. He's on the left or he's on the right or wherever it is. When you got to pay that much attention to a receiver like him who proved it last year, week in and week out, he can be a big-time playmaker, then it makes everybody better.
Yeah.
But, I sit there and I look at, Trayshawn Holden and what he's done, and a highly recruited guy in the first place. Already knew he was a good player, showed it again throughout spring. It's only going to get better as the chemistry with the rest of the group comes through. Tez Johnson, I thought that Hudson has really improved and has stepped his game up. And then it's just a matter of, some of the other guys out there that you take a look at. I mean, it's, Cozart, maybe.
Casper made a nice
Kyler
catch.
Casper, I mean, I think that he's going to be a factor in a lot of places on the field. I can't wait to see if they develop a package around him when it gets inside the 10-yard line, like we saw Stanford always do with guys that are 6'4" and athletic. That's him. But he's more than just that, obviously. And so, I'm looking forward to this group. I think it's a real talented group. And Jurion Dickey comes to town,
right,
and a highly touted wide receiver. Let's see how quickly he gets up to speed with these guys, too.
Talking with Jorgie, the tight end spot, we know the depth in the spring in particular with Terrence Ferguson held out precautionarily. The depth was hurt a little bit at the tight end spot. But I think when Ferguson comes back, there's competition behind him for sure. But I like the tight end spot with Terrence Ferguson.
Yeah, I do. I mean, he's obviously one of the more athletic tight ends we've seen in a long time. We've seen some pretty athletic ones over time. There's no doubt about that. But, I like what Patrick Herbert just continues to do. Mm-hmm. Just consistent, steady Freddie, exactly what you want as a quarterback, is a guy that knows where he's supposed to be. When the ball's there, he's going to catch it. He's going to run the right route. He might not be the fastest guy on the field. He's a really good, solid blocker. I think I'm really happy to see him continue to be healthy and be part of this offense because, the depth of the tight end position took a hit in the offseason.
Yeah.
So his presence is going to be really important. And I think the matchup that's going to be interesting at that position in the future, and hopefully the future is now and in the fall, is Kenyon Sadiq. I just think he is a really dynamic player, a wide receiver type of player, wide receiver athleticism, in what's right now a 225-pound body that may be 235 by the time we get to the fall. And I think it's a guy that can play at 245 eventually and still be able to carry it because he's just so athletic. Eastern Idaho kid, out there working hard, trying to get used to the offense. And, there's other things he's going to have to be able to do. You got to be able to, like they always say, you got to block to get the rock.
That's right.
And he's going to have to bring that piece of it up. But out there battling, I think it's going to be a really good room once everybody is healthy, particularly getting Ferguson back.
You talk about depth. I think the running back spot's got a lot of depth. The 1-2 punch of Bucky Irving, Noah Whittington, Jordan James maybe developing into more than just a short yardage back. I think the depth in the running back room is solid.
Well, anytime you get two guys that did what Whittington and Irving did last year back, and they're bigger and they're stronger and everything else that goes with it, and then you add three other people to the – I mean, it's a full room of really high-level running backs. And, Jordan James played some last year, mostly it seemed like goal line type of situation. So he's going to kind of break out and start doing some other things besides just being the inside the 10-yard line back. And, and then the two youngsters come in, and they're going to have to battle for their playing time too. But it's a very talented running back room, and that last year benefited from, and we'll get to it, a very cohesive veteran group of offensive linemen. So now it's a kind of a different group coming together for those running backs, and we'll see if the running back can benefit from this new group of offensive linemen as well.
It's like he's done this before. My next question. Jorgie, you mentioned the offensive line.
Yeah.
How about that offensive line?
Well, there was only one group left, right?
On the offense, yeah.
Yeah, on the offensive side of the ball.
You see the way that I'm doing this. But, no, truthfully, I mean, I still think in the fall my eyes will continue to go to the offensive line because when you're replacing as many starters as they are, it doesn't matter how talented the guys coming up are. It's still a new group for sure.
The consistency of that group last year.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. 5 sacks.
Yeah.
5 sacks. I mean, I don't have any expectation we're going to see only 5 sacks given up this year. I hope it's in that number range. It'd be great too, but that's off the charts. It's really unusual that a team is like that. Bo Nix had something to do with that, but an offensive line really protected him well. And overall, and don't tell Ryan Walk or any of these guys I'm getting ready to say this, I think this group may be more talented than that talented group, but that talented group played together for 2 or 3 years, played anywhere from 700 to 1,000 plays last season together. And so when you got chemistry in an offensive lineman, when they break the huddle or sometimes don't huddle and come to the line of scrimmage, you never have to look at each other, never have to say a word. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do. That's what this group is evolving into. And the quicker they evolve, obviously Irving and Whittington and the rest of the running back group and the quarterbacks are going to benefit from it. But they got work to do. I mean, the team as a whole has work to do, but that cohesiveness has to come together here pretty soon.
Well, and Alik Terry, new offensive line coach for the Ducks, he worked with the previous staff, and Alex Mirabal used to always say, like, you got to have 5 bodies moving, like, with one mind, in different phrases. You've heard those variations of that phrase, and Alik Terry has kind of said that, 5 as 1, That's what this group is now striving for because the blueprint was there with that idea from this previous group.
Yeah, it was. And again, I just think that Oregon was really fortunate the last couple of years to have some guys were around 2 or 3 or 4 years and played together for a long period of time and got better and better and better as their time went on here as Oregon Ducks. And so, it is a big factor. You can have all the talent in the world, but if they don't play together and cohesive, it's tough. And so I really look forward to this group growing together because it's talented. There's no doubt about it.
Jorgie's with us. Let's stick in the trenches. Defensive line, you talked about Dorlus, Birch, Rogers. That could be a starting trifecta. And then we're forgetting a bunch of other guys behind them that may start. I think the defensive line may end up being the strength of this team come the fall.
Deep, too.
Yeah.
Now they've, Popo being back, Taki Taimani being as part of that group, and I thought he played really well in the spring game, was disruptive, made a couple of plays, but again was just disruptive in and around the play all the time where running backs had to deviate from where they wanted to go because of him and into somebody else's hands. And so, I mean, there's more names than just that right there, but it's a very deep group, and you need that depth. I love the way that Casey Rogers played, in particular the last 3 to 4 games. Last half of the season, but the last 3 to 4 games, I thought his game took leaps and bounds forward, and he's going to be a big factor this year. We know that Dorlus already is, and and then it's just a matter of us getting a feel of Jordan Birch at full steam. I don't know if coaches would probably never say this, but I almost felt like they told him, okay, easy does it in the spring game. You don't need to have 5 or 6 sacks. You don't need to blow anybody up. Just, and it may have driven him nuts, but I can't wait to see him go full speed because he's a special, special player. And so that D-line, I think, is going to be really good.
Yeah, you look at Jordan Birch, like, the old adage in football, right, is you see him getting off the bus and they look the part. Yeah. Jordan Birch looks the part.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that is
yeah.
That's a guy that I would not want to see line up against me if I was on the O-line or if I was the opposing quarterback. True. We are going to hear the rest of Mike Jorgensen talking with me tomorrow because we had a lot of great stuff. We went a lot longer with Jorgie, honestly, than I thought we would. When we come back, Oregon softball. They're headed to the tournament. Going to have a little fun with them when we come back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, OnPoint proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. OnPoint Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
Unused prescription opioid pain medicines can spell trouble. They can spell risk if taken by someone they weren't prescribed for, harm if accidentally taken by a child or pet, or overdose if they're not used as directed. Safely dispose of opioids before they can hurt your family. Find a drug take-back option such as medicine drop boxes. You may find these in your community at local pharmacies or police stations. Visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Oregon softball is headed today. They're practicing today, actually, in Arizona. Ducks are going to play at 6:30 tomorrow against Stanford to open the Pac-12 tournament, televised on Pac-12 Network. Well, before they left, we mic'd up Kylu Shar and head coach Melissa Lombardi at practice and had a little bit of fun as we get ready for the Pac-12 tournament for softball.
Sometimes I grunt when I throw, and I'm scared it's going to be loud. Oh, God! Ah! That almost hit the bird!
Okay, you ready to go?
Uh-huh.
A little more, a little more.
Good, Reagan! Good pitch!
Yes, good. Reggie, stay on, and then Allison, you'll come in.
Beat my dust! How'd my dust taste? Fact inhaled your dust.
When they're tailing, like you're going out, and you're back and closed.
Okay.
Reset, reset. Come on, you got it.
This is the only time you two will be in the cage all day.
Okay, cool. Okay. Beautiful. Nice.
Get that over. Too much plate. Finish, finish. Good. Set.
Good! 2 perfect ones in a row. If it's 3 and 1, it's got to be our perfect pitch. Yeah, Kate!
Do you feel that a little different? Yeah. Down the line? Okay, let's get the same thing.
Good pitch. See you, ball. Good play.
Because that was right to her, right? And she barely got you. Yeah, she just got you.
I'm manifesting not to get walked. I really want to get some good pitches.
You could almost think of if like you like that hop and still work with your changeup.
Okay. Yes, I see you working, Kyla. Keep working. Stay there, Kyla.
Krista, I feel like you can cover both sides with where you're at.
Yes.
That's what it looks like.
I just wanted to play it out for fun. Like, so she here, I like, I go outside the elbow, under the elbow, you know. At me.
I would look under it. Oh, you know what? I should know better.
We gotta go. We gotta go.
All right, up hikes your winners.
From 3, 1, 2, 3. Yoda.
Awesome stuff. Kylu Shar, Melissa Lombardi, mic'd up at practice. The Ducks now getting ready to take on Stanford on Thursday. Tomorrow, we'll have a full preview of it on the show tomorrow. Women's golf, they're coming through. It looks like they will not advance out of the regional. More details on that for you tomorrow. Also, some great news, though, for Oregon track and field as the team swept the Pac-12 Athlete of the Week awards announced by the league office. Middle distance standouts Matthew Erickson and Izzy Thornton-Bott won track honors, while Mason Strunk and Shelby Moran, both in the hammer, were the top field athletes of the weekend. The Ducks postseason begins for track and field with the Pac-12 championships Friday through Sunday in Walnut, California. A lot of weekly awards. A lot of conference awards today. Congratulations to Oregon softball for their conference honors. That's your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. It's always good when it's Pac-12 honors to wrap it up. Cafe Yum restaurants throughout Oregon and Washington. Menus, cafeyum.com. Tomorrow on the show, buckle up. Oregon volleyball head coach Matt Ulmer will be with us. Oh boy, see you then.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million results. But which ones can you trust? Medicines bought from unlicensed online pharmacies can be dangerous. You may get a fake drug, your condition may get worse, or you may experience a bad reaction. Don't put your health at risk. To learn how to find an online pharmacy that's safe and legal, visit fda.gov/BeSafeRx. A message from